Here.
Thank you. Brent Kane.
Present.
Thank you. Clem Legaki.
Here.
Thank you. Elise Maza.
I am here.
Thank you. Greg Byers. John Morales.
Here.
Thank you. Jonathan Brodsky. Matt Munden.
Here.
Thank you. Paul Patney.
Here, present.
Thank you. Go back to Greg Byers. Steve Boshin.
Present, Lisa.
Thank you. You're in for Greg?
I'm in for Boshin.
Okay.
Greg's he's got other commitments, and I'm not sure if he had a proxy today or not.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Alrighty, thank you. So we'll move on to item 3, Title 6 of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 as amended. Pursuant to Title 6 of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Americans Disabilities Act, ADOT does not discriminate on the basis of race, color, national origin, age, sex, or disability. Persons who require a reasonable accommodation based on language or disability should contact ADOT Civil Rights Office. Requests should be made as early as possible to ensure the state has an opportunity to address the accommodation. So we'll move on to item 4, call to the audience. Is there anybody who would like to do call to the audience? Hearing none, we'll move on to item 5, approval of last month's meeting minutes.
Move to approve Morales.
Second, Boshin.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Steve. Is there a second? No, Steve got that. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? Okay, we'll move on to item 6, the program monitoring report. And looked at it briefly. You know, the big takeaway, there's still quite a bit of available after expected funding shown. And so just, I know we had our sub-program meeting with the managers earlier this week. So, you know, kudos to the programming team and others who help participate in that and get those sub-programs going in the right direction. So we'll keep moving forward and try to. Steve.
Chair, I couldn't make the entire meeting, but I heard a scary number. Can we talk about that number right now?
You bet. The number on the programming monitoring report that I'm seeing is 190 million. So.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to make sure I got the story right. Okay, thank you.
Yep. So moving on to item 7, AZ Smart Fund applications. Megan, please.
Yes, Lisa, I'm going to take over presenting here.
It's all yours.
Thank you. All right. Good morning, everybody. Can you all see my screen? All right.
You bet.
Perfect. All right. So this morning for the Arizona Smart Fund applications, just as a reminder, these are the eligible uses and eligible applicants. This is the same slide that we look at every time, so nothing's changed here. This month's applications, we do have 4 applications utilizing both the RAISE grant and the Rural Surface Transportation grant. So this is just a quick overview of those 2 grant programs. The first application that we have today is for the town of Clarkdale, and this is for their Cement Plant Road and Upper Main Street project. They are requesting $280,000 for design and other engineering services. This project is one that will be adding multi-use paths and sidewalks to the kind of the general vicinity of Cement Plant Road and Upper Main Street to provide safer transportation alternatives for bicyclists and pedestrians, mainly around that school zone right there, Clarkdale Jerome School. They do intend to be a direct recipient if allowed under the NOFO, and they are pursuing the 2025 RAISE grant. Any questions on this application? All right, moving on. The second application that we have this month is for Gila County, and this is for their Russell Road project. They are also requesting design and other engineering services in the amount of $1.41 million. This is to realign the roadway between some washouts that was damaged by flooding. So it looks like they're going to move that 2 miles of that roadway segment to a different location to avoid further or future damage with any other storms or natural disasters that happen. They are requesting ADOT administration and are also pursuing the 2025 RAISE grant. Any questions on this application? All right, moving on. The third application that we have this month is from the City of Douglas, and this is for their Avenue G Street Revitalization Project. They are also requesting design and other engineering services in the amount of $214,000. This is, like I said, just some streetscape stuff that's going to happen in their downtown area with the new port of entry, diverting the truck traffic that they will no longer have downtown. So new landscapes, some new electrical upgrades, sidewalk features, expansion of sidewalks, etc. They also intend to be a direct recipient if allowed under the NOFO, and are going to pursue the 2025 Rural Surface Transportation Grant. Are there any questions on this application? All right, moving on to our final application of this month is for Cochise County. This is for their new connector road for that new port of entry happening down in the City of Douglas. They're also requesting design and other engineering services in the amount of $4.4 million. This is to construct that new roadway. They do have a couple different options as pictured on their map over here. So this is just to connect that new port of entry up to SR 80. They are requesting ADOT administration as well and are going to pursue the RAISE grant in 2025 as well. Any questions on this application? All right. So this is the application summary that we have for all 4 applications this month. So Town of Clarkdale, County of, this is Gila County, apologies for that typo. City of Douglas and Cochise County all requesting design funding. The only application this month is Cochise County that has an applicant match of $600,000, and that is both from Cochise County and the City of Douglas, who are partnering in that project. Any questions or comments on the summary? All right. This is our most current AZ Smart Fund report. Each of the 5 categories have received just over $600,000 in interest, which is good news for those total revenues going up. You can see there in yellow is what we still have available for awards in each of the 5 categories. And the final bracket down below is the pending request that is from today's 4 applications, again, all in the design and engineering category. And then if and when those 4 applications are approved, that final line there at the bottom will be what becomes our yellow line next month. Any questions? All right. Oh, Steve?
Chair and Megan, the 214, what is that going to do for us? I think that was Douglas. Can you go through that one again?
So the city of Douglas, this is their streetscape revitalization. So with that new port of entry project happening down in the city of Douglas, it is going to divert a large portion, if not all, of the commercial truck traffic that goes through their downtown area from the existing port. So with that truck traffic diverting, they're going to kind of revamp their downtown. Avenue G is like their main street through their downtown area. So they're going to expand some sidewalks and do some upgrading features to a lot of that electrical, landscape, irrigation, drainage, just some of the stuff that hasn't been done. They're just going to upgrade those different features now that they won't have the commercial traffic going through their downtown area.
So Megan, my only question on this, is this enough to do the scope they have? Have we asked Douglas that? Because if they can do this, I want Douglas to do a lot of the work for ADOT in the future.
With their budget. I
Correct.
can verify on their application. I do believe that their application did have their scoping cost estimate, so I can pull that and verify that dollar amount as well.
I'm just throwing it out there, guys. That's a lot of scope for just 214. I got to figure out a way for us to do that. I know Paul, I got Paul to smile.
No, just hang on. We got a couple hands up, but there is Elise Moore from the city of Douglas, and I'm not sure, Elise, if you wanted to provide any comment before I let staff talk, please.
Yeah, if possible. I'm the Public Works Director, City Engineer for City of Douglas. This is a downtown project that's been, we've been trying to work on it for several years. They've had J2 Engineering Group working on like a 3-block area already on 30%. And the idea was just to expand the scope. We know we have a lot of areas that need to get up to ADA compliance, and this is a priority for us. We have a lot of 1-foot curbs. The idea is a lot of the work will be in the main downtown corridor, you know, where the Gadsden Hotel is, but to extend the scope down to these other areas, just so that we can extend that sidewalks, ramps, you know, all the legally compliant things that we need to get done there to make it more pedestrian friendly. We're also going to be using some other funds to help us with this scope. So yeah, I mean, 214 is just going to help us get moved along. We're having some other funds to help us as well.
Thank you, Elise. Lisa, then I'll let you respond, Steve.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Elise, the AZ Smart Awards have to be administered by ADOT. And I just wanted to make sure, you know, if you're talking about extending scope, I just wanted to make sure you realize that.
Yeah, I think that will be fine. With what we've got going on, if we have to extend scope to include these areas, like I said, we've got J2 working on some areas already. We could probably just figure that out in terms of how we can extend the scope for ADOT to administer.
Thank you.
Steve?
Sharon, Elise, I'm very supportive of this project. I just want to make sure you're making the right amount for the request, but it sounds like you have other funds, so I'm good. Very supportive of this request. Thanks, Elise.
Thank you. Okay.
All right, so lastly, we just have our requested actions here from PPAC is going to be to approve each of these 4 design and other engineering service applications. It does come out to a total of 5.9 million, just over. So those are the requested actions for the AZ Smart Fund applications this month.
Thank you, Megan. We can take this in one motion would be the preference. So is there a motion to approve these 4 AZ Smart applications as presented today.
Move to approve as presented motion.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Clem, for the second. Any additional questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? Thank you. So we'll move on to item 8, project modifications, new projects and airport projects. And just real quick on the airport side of aeronautics and the side of MPD, just want to take this time. I noticed she attended, introduce Carmen Rose. She's our new state airport engineer for ADOT. So you'll start seeing Carmen more often attending meetings and stuff. And so just welcome her to the ADOT team. So we'll move on to item 8-1, and that would be Angela, please.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. This request is to increase the construction budget for F0553. This is SR 87 and Kleck Road turn lane project. This is an HSIP project that's being completed in-house. I'm also requesting to modify the advertisement date from Q3 to Q4. The majority of the request is for that additional construction funding. I am asking for $525,000 for construction. And this is primarily because the stage 4 estimate was higher due to increase in unit costs for AC and AB. And then we did have additional quantities for guardrail and roadway excavation than anticipated from the previous submittals.
Thank you, Angela. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve. This is Brent.
Thank you, Brent. Is there a second?
Second motion.
Thank you, Steve. Any questions or comments? Steve?
Sure, I already grilled Angie during PRB, so I'm not going to do it now. No questions.
Thank you. Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? Thank you, Angela.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 8-2, Arash.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. This request is for project F0716 01D phase. I'm requesting to be deleted because it was inadvertently included in the 5-year program. And this project needs to be scoped and ranked before it is included in the program. So for that reason, I'm requesting to be deleted.
Thank you, Arash. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second, Barry.
Thank you, Barry. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? Okay, we'll move on to item 8-3. Bharat?
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. This is for project on County Route 91 at Sand Hollow Creek Bridge. Bridge rehab, the request to establish a scoping surface for ADOT staff charges. This is an off-system bridge project in Mojave County and is preparing scoping document. The project will evaluate strengthening improvements using carbon fiber reinforced concrete, composite, or other similar cost-effective strengthening approaches for Sand Hollow Creek Bridge.
Thank you, Bharat. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve motion.
Thank you, Steve. Is there a second?
Second, this is Brent.
Thank you, Brent. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? Thank you, Barat. Moving on to item 8-4. I believe you're on again.
Yep, it's the same project, but this is for the scoping surface for the consultant charges.
Thank you, Barat. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve this, Brent.
Thank you, Brent. Is there a second?
Second, Clem.
Thank you, Clem. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? Moving on to item 8-5. Chris?
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. This request is for project F051501C. This project is installing ITS devices on I-17. The request is to increase the budget by $50,000 and also defer the project to FY25 for a Q2 advertisement. In discussions with the sub-program manager in TSMO, there was an understanding that there was not enough funding available to deliver this project in the next project on the agenda, F0514, in the same fiscal year. So the decision was to defer this project.
Thank you, Chris. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve this, Brent.
Is there a second?
Second, this, Barry.
Thank you, Barry. Any questions or comments? I guess I have a comment. We're saying to defer the project because of budget, right? Is that my understanding of what this action is? We're deferring the construction because we need an increase in funding?
We are deferring the project because of the funding, but also the request is to not have both 515 and 514 advertised too close together. So actually, by advertising 514 in June, we're able to advertise 515 5 to 6 months later and sometime in mid-November, which staggers those projects.
I guess my concern is the program monitoring report shows, the money, the 190. So maybe I'm seeing something wrong, but go ahead, Elise. Thank you.
Chair, committee, Chris. I think what Chris is saying, they need more budget, but the reason it's being deferred isn't due to lack of budget this year, but as to not have schedule problems with the other project. Is that what I'm hearing? Or are you concerned about budget this year?
There was some concern about the budget for this year, but knowing that we were going to stagger these projects because of the time frame to complete the electrical service work, coordination with utilities, as well as a railroad permit, these projects were pushing out. So in order to keep them staggered, as well as to maintain the sub-program budgets, the decision was made to defer this project F0515 to 25 and have that be a Q2 advertisement.
Steve?
Chair, I get where you're going, but what I'm hearing from Chris is the project just wasn't ready. So we need to move it.
You can always write delayed start dates, you don't have to start. Okay. Any additional questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstained? Thank you, Chris. Moving on to item, you're up again, 8-6. Chris?
Yes, this request is for F051401C. The request is to increase the budget by $1,992,000 and also change the project limits. The new project limits will begin at milepost 2.48 and go to 57.19, decreasing the overall length from 63 miles to 54.71 miles. This project is installing the ITS devices on I-19. And again, this is the FY24 construction project.
Thank you, Chris. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve, motion.
Thank you, Steve. Is there a second?
Second, this is Brent.
Thank you, Brent. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? Thank you. Moving on to item 8-7, Chris.
Yes, this request is for F051601C. This project is installing ITS devices on I-40 from the I-17 interchange to Country Club Drive. The request is to reduce the budget down to $3,002,000. This is a result of the broadband being taken out of the project. Also requesting to defer this project to FY26. Again, this project had changed scope. Some items were added. So that was part of the deferral, as well as the other funding discussions we had with TISMO and the sub-program manager.
Thank you, Chris. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve. This is Brent.
Thank you, Brent. Is there a second?
Second motion.
Thank you, Steve. Any questions or comments? A lot of ITS infrastructure, Brent, coming up for you guys, so a lot of work. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstained? Moving on to item 8-8, Chris.
Yes, this request is for T040901C. This project is installing flashing yellow arrows at 3 signal intersections in the city of Yuma. The city of Yuma has requested that this project be deferred. They've identified the need to upgrade the existing cabinets, which will also require adjusting the APS meters, and they need more time to complete this work.
Thank you, Chris. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve, motion.
Thank you, Steve. Is there a second?
Second, Morales.
Second, Clem.
Thank you, John. Any questions or comments? Elise?
Chair committee, Chris, are there any concerns with this deferral? I think it's going to 27. Did I see that correctly?
That is correct. The city of Yuma is aware that it will be pushed out until 27.
Is there some concerns though with it being deferred, a few years back, that this could cause the project to go up in cost? And I guess it is 100% HSIP funding, but do we think we have a good estimate? And I would expect if we're deferring something by 3 years, just at a low inflationary rate at 5%, we should expect to see a higher cost in 27 for the same type of work.
I would agree that the cost will likely go up. We do have there is an IGA in place, and they do understand that anything beyond what they've been approved for with this needs to be paid for with city funds.
Any additional questions or comments, Steve?
So I think Elise has a good question. If we defer it that far out, we probably need to consider year of expenditure before we defer it and look at new eligibility. This is an unfortunate thing when we start deferring projects, Chair and Chris.
And, this is why, I made the comment earlier, and some of these projects, and I've done it back in when I was in operations, where sometimes you just have a delay start date, you can still get it out there, but you won't, you can say they can't start work until, June or whatever, a few months later. So, no, it's when we defer projects is never a good thing, but we're going to get better at it.
Yeah, in addition to realistic cost, what, we don't want to see happen, or none of us want to see happen in 27 is it's now a $600,000 project and they decide not to do it at all, right? So
now your point on it, especially the HSIP, the whole point is improving safety, and when we start deferring safety projects, that's always something we have to question. Okay, I lost my place on my cheat sheet.
Chair, I got one more thought. I kind of think that Yuma wants to become a CA. Maybe this will go away in 2 years.
They have work to do if they need to want to be a CA, but they can, it can be done.
You would have that knowledge, Chair.
Oh,
Thank you.
all right. Any additional questions or comments? I'm assuming we went through all the motions. Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? Thank you, Chris. Moving on to item, man, they punishing you today, huh? Item 8-9. Chris, go ahead.
Yes, this request is for project F072801D to establish a new project, the San Simon Port of Entry. This project will replace the scale, construct an inspection pit at the port of entry. While work also includes concrete pavement, ADA walkways, median removal, secured parking, and access gate, pavement markings, and utility service adjustments. The total request is for $634,000, and construction will be in FY25.
Thank you, Chris. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve Morales.
Thank you, John. Is there a second?
Second motion.
Thank you, Steve. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstained? Okay, moving on to item 8-10. Chris Rodriguez.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. This is a off-system bridge project T0514 to strengthen and widen and rehab the Pine Creek Bridge with Yuma County, Yavapai County. This is for ADOT charges.
Is there a motion to approve? Thank you, Chris. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve motion.
Thank you, Steve. Is there a second?
Second, Barry.
Thank you, Barry. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Any abstained? All right, moving on to item 8-11. Chris?
Yes, so this is the same project, and this is to establish a budget, to bring a consultant on to do the scoping of this bridge.
Thank you, Chris. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second, Barry.
Barry, any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstained? Okay, move on to item 8-12, Chris.
Yes, this is another off-system bridge project with Yavapai County. This is T0511. This is to develop scoping preliminary documents for solutions to replacing the Little Pine Creek Bridge. This is for the ADOT. This is for ADOT costs.
Thank you, Chris. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve, motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second, Barry.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Steve?
Chair and Paul, how many more of these does Chris have to do? Can we do them in bunches, please?
Yeah, I'll combine one that's the same project. So
Thank you.
typically it'll be like two. No, I hear you. Okay, so any other questions or comments? Barry?
So motion, do you want to change your motion to propose 8-12 and 8-13?
Wait,
I was waiting for you to do it before me, Barry, but yes.
Let me get my bearings. Okay, yeah, that'll work. Are we gonna amend the motion, the original motion, to include item 14?
I am in the motion to include item 14. Yes.
Clem, are you gonna get us in order here?
Yeah, thank you.
Well, Mr. Chair, I was just going to say that I think we've already approved 12, so we could just approve 13 and then we could take the next two together.
Okay, thank you, Clem. We'll go that route. So item 8-13 is for the consultant fees associated with the bridge project. And so is there a motion to improve item 8-13?
Motion to approve, motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second, Barry.
Thank you, Barry. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Any abstained? So we'll move on to item 8-14. Let's see, is that the same as 15? Yes. Okay. You can do both of these together, Chris. Just
Okay. So this is a off-system bridge project scoping to replace the Verde River Bridge. This is also with Yavapai County.
thank you,
This is
Chris.
for both consultant and ADOT charges.
Thank you, Chris. So when we make the motion, please include the two items 14 and 15. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve items 14 and 15, motion.
Thank you, Steve. Is there a second?
Second, Barry.
Thank you, Barry. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? Okay, moving on to item 8-16. Is this the same 16 and 17, I believe? Yeah.
Yep.
So go ahead and present both items, Chris, 16
Okay.
and 17, sir.
So this is also a Yavapai County off-system bridge project scoping to rehab the historical Hassayampa River Bridge. This is for both ADOT charges and consultant charges.
Thank you, Chris. Is there a motion to improve items 16 and 17?
Motion to approve, motion.
Thank you, Steve. Is there a second?
Second, Barry.
Thank you, Barry. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? So we'll move on to item 8-18. Chris?
Yes. So this is project F056501C. This is to increase the construction budget. This is primarily due to the increase in the structural section of the pavement, which increased earthwork, AB, and asphalt quantities.
Thank you, Chris. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve, motion.
Thank you, Steve. Is there a second?
Second, Barry.
Thank you, Barry. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstained? So we'll move on to item 8-19. Chris?
Motion to approve, motion.
Thank you, Barry. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye. Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? Thanks, Chris. Item
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
8-19. Dana?
Yes. Good morning, members of the board, Mr. Chairman. This is a Pima County project, Florida Wash Canyon. This is to, it is a bridge replacement. This is to establish the O1R funding and move the funding to fiscal year 25. This project was just initiated in January, and the design and right-of-way were both set up for fiscal year 24. Pima County does not believe they can have the design completed far enough along to be ready to establish the right-of-way, so they have requested that the right-of-way be moved to fiscal year 25. This is off-system bridge funds.
Thank you. Dana, is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve this, Brent.
Thank you, Brent. Is there a second?
Second is Barry.
You, Barry, any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 I'll be right there, Clem. Any opposed? Any abstained? Clem?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, I was a little late here, but it was, I think, I'm trying to find the action. The action was to establish a subphase, but it sounded like it was also a deferral. Am I wrong about that?
No, you are correct.
Okay, so did we capture that in our motion? It's both. I think we did, so I think we're good. Thank
Yeah,
you.
maybe we can modify the form, Lisa, to include deferral. If we can.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, so it goes to the board. They'll see that in the action. That's okay. Thank you.
Item 8-20.
Yes.
Dana?
Yes, this is another Pima County project. The same situation. This is Medium Wash Canyon Bridge, off-system bridge funds. This also was just initiated in January with the design and right-of-way, both due in fiscal year 24. Pima County does not feel that they can have design completed far enough along to be able to move forward with the right-of-way in the same fiscal year. So they are requesting that the right-of-way funding be available in fiscal year 25.
Thank you, Dana. Is there a motion to approve?
This
Move
is
to
Clem. I'd
approve
like to
motion.
move that this be approved with the same notation that includes a deferral in the action.
Thank you, Clem. Is there a second on Clem's motion? Steve,
I'll second Clem's motion, but I do have a question.
okay?
So Dana, this looks like a pattern for Pima County. How do we rectify this?
Well, Tucson is worse, and we're coming up on them next. Pima County also has a new CI liaison in place. What I see that I'm finding with both of these is they have new staff in place. And the people that originally put in these applications are no longer the people that I am currently dealing with. And so this has all been brought to their attention, and I've let them know that how this puts a burden on ADOT, and also that we don't appreciate the last minute notice when they've had all year to tell us this. But like I did say for these two, that these projects were just initiated in January, and it probably shouldn't have been approved that way to begin with. They should have not been in the same fiscal year at the time the projects were established.
Chair, just a discussion for another day. Some of this is on us and some's on Pima
Yeah.
County.
Yeah, and I agree with like I said, we're going to be discussing Tucson in a moment. I think we need to be a little stricter with them. I've tried to do that, but of course I'm dealing with new people. And of course, you know, when the other person's not there any longer, it's always easy to go, well, this wasn't done by me. It was done by someone else. So we're working with that right now.
Thank you, Dana. You know, I just kind of will carry this conversation on later, Steve, but yeah, I think this leads to what Greg brought up at his staff meeting earlier in the week, you know, so.
Yeah, Chair, the issue is there's no consequences.
Right. And we're a lot of, believe me, a lot of people are aware of it, and there's some things starting to gain momentum. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? Thank you, Dana. Moving on to item 8-21.
Yes. This is a CA project with the city of Tucson, Country Club Road. This is SHIP funding. The city of Tucson is not going to be ready to go forward with the construction obligation of this project. Design is currently only at 30%. It is being done by an outside designer, Kimley Horn. And so Tucson has requested that the construction phase of this project be moved to another fiscal year. There are no SHIP funds currently available in fiscal year 25, so they've had to request that it be deferred to fiscal year 27.
Thank you, Dana. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve, Brent.
Thank you, Brent. Is there a second?
A reluctant second motion.
Thank you, Steve. Any questions or comments? Elise?
Chair committee, same question, comment as before. You know, if this really gets pushed back for 8 years, I would imagine, even at a relatively low inflationary rate, high inflationary rate, it really could vary. I'd expect the cost of this project to complete would be much higher in the future.
Thank you, Elise. Brent?
Yeah, it's just a commentary, and Elise kind of stole what I was going to say as well, but this is a problem. The next item is the other one that's going to be a challenge for us as well, too, the reprogram the HSIP sub-program. So this continues to be a challenge. We are looking at it as well, too, and trying to get more proactive versus reactive, these kind of things. And we have been, but clearly these things are continuing to cause issues for the agency. So it's unfortunate to see these.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you,
I have
Brent.
brought it to their attention that by the time this comes to pass, if it does wait until fiscal year 27, that the costs will most likely be higher, and that the city of Tucson would be the one that would have to come up with the additional funds for these projects. As you're going to see as we go through these next ones, I have 4 projects from the city of Tucson that are the same thing. They're 4 separate projects. Well, they're 2 and 2 with Tucson because they're wanting to combine 2 and 2 to be done together. So this is all SHIP funding that is we're being made aware of at the last moment that they're not going to be ready to go.
Right. Chair, I just want to say one last thing, and you said it before too. These are safety projects, and they're prioritized based on the safety across the state. So not getting these in is a detriment to the traveling public. So it's unfortunate to see these kicked. Thank you.
Thank you, Brent. Clem?
Yeah, I just have a question. It's kind of a process question. Yeah, I know Tucson is a CA agency, and under the JPA line, there's no JPA. So I just wonder, with this is deferred 3 years based on Elise Mazza's comments, earlier and the likelihood the cost would go up. This is shown as 100% HSIP, but you know, any increases should be borne by them. Do we have some document that makes it clear that they have to bear that extra cost if there's no IGA?
Yeah, that I was going to make that comment, but you're pointing on Clem. I don't know if, and we don't have to get into the weeds of it, but if we can consider just advising these local agencies via letter or something, some type of correspondence saying, you know, they're going to be responsible for costs. Lisa?
Mr. Chair, members, I believe the eligibility letter covers that. If Mona or Larry are on, can you confirm that?
Larry,
Go
thank
ahead,
you.
Larry.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, Lisa's correct. In the eligibility letter, we state that overages have to come from another source.
Thank you, Larry. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? Thank you. Moving on to item 8-22, Dana.
Yeah, this is also City of Tucson CA project, SHIP funds. Sorry for the background noise. Same situation. The City of Tucson does not think that they will have the construction ready to go in this fiscal year 24. So they have requested the funds be moved to fiscal year 27.
Thank you, Dana. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve, Brent.
Thank you, Brent. Is there a second?
Second, Barry.
Thank you, Barry. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? Moving on to item 8-23. Dana?
Yes, another CA project with the City of Tucson. 2 locations install hybrid pedestrian beacons. They have same situation. All 4 of these projects are being designed at the same time. They are not far enough along to meet the construction deadline for fiscal year 24, and would like to request that the construction phase be moved to fiscal year 27.
Thank you, Dana. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve, Brent.
Thank you, Brent. Is there a second?
I'll second, Elise.
Thank you, Elise. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? Thank you. Moving on to item 8-24, Dana?
Okay, this is the last. This is the last one. CA project, City of Tucson, Nogales Highway, construct street lighting. Also, SHIP funding. Design will not be will not be completed in time for construction in fiscal year 24. Currently, funds are not available till fiscal year 27. So the City of Tucson requests that the construction phase of the project be moved to fiscal year 27.
Thank you, Dana. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve, Brent.
Thank you, Brent. Is there a second?
Second motion.
Any questions or comments? Clem?
Yeah, just looking ahead, Mr. Chairman, it seems like we've deferred a sort of a bunch of projects to 27 for the same jurisdiction. they're going to have a glut of projects, it looks like, coming together in the same year again. One wonders if they're going to have similar problems, but there's time to plan. I don't know what kind of coordination we can do, to make sure that they get their act together for this next time. Just a comment, a bunch of projects going to be piling in another year. Hopefully we don't have the same problem moving ahead, especially with all the additional funding that looks like it's going to be required for a number of these projects.
Thank you, Clem. Elise?
Chair, members of the committee, Clem, thank you for your comment. I guess they were all scheduled for this year originally, and hopefully it wasn't anticipated to be a problem. And I know we went through a bunch, Dana, but do you mind refreshing my memory? The main reason they're going to 27 is because there was limited funding in 25, 26. So do we have a date when we expect them to be ready? So if they could be advanced somewhat forward, that we could look at doing that when we know more, and if funding becomes available in 25 or 26, if they're actually ready.
I did ask the city of Tucson that to make sure that they were continuing to work on these projects in case the funding didn't become available sooner, so that they would be ready to go forward in case that happened. And they said yes, they were not delaying the design. They were going to continue with the design as planned.
But shouldn't they have an anticipated delivery date, and then it would just have to be on hold due to the lack of funding?
Yes, but this never should have been set up this way in the first place. Design and right of way should not have both have been in the same fiscal year, especially since this project was just initiated in January. I mean, 3 months ago. There was no way it could have been done in the first place. So we're kind of correcting something that should have never happened in the first place.
Well, I guess the one I'm looking at, and I'm sorry, but it looks like design was authorized.
Oh, sorry. That's
I'm not talking about the
previous
previous ones. I'm talking
project.
about,
Yeah.
I'm talking about the ones that have
Previous
construction.
ones, not this one. Yeah. Change of staff, delay in design. It's the same story. But I do know that City of Tucson, next week we'll be going to PRB for 2 other projects that they have asked to defer. But and they're probably going to have to start over with the design of those, because the funding that was given to them for those projects was based on the number of locations. One has 22 locations, one has 44, and they've been asked to reduce the scope of work. So their SHIP funding for construction for those projects was for fiscal year 25. So we do know that there is going to be some SHIP funding that is going to be available for 25, but that doesn't mean that Tucson will get it. They have also been told that since they have deferred these projects, that they may have to start over and re-qualify for the 2 other projects that they will be requesting. So they know that they're in a bit of a bind and under the radar right now.
Yeah, I guess my ask is just if we could come up with an expected ready for advertisement date from them, even if the funding isn't available, just so we know that if it does become available, hey, they should be good to go, right? And that's so there's a connectivity too, that they're not dragging their feet out to 27.
No, they're not. They're not going to. But currently, design is only at 30%. But they, like I said, they have reassured me they are not delaying design. They are going to move forward with it just in case the funding does come available. They originally wanted to defer it to fiscal year 25, but had no choice but to wait until fiscal year 27 because there are not funds available in 25 and 26 at this time.
Let me jump in here. I think we're getting kind of weedy. The issue is, I think we all see what the issue is, and every project should have a schedule. So when they make these changes, to me, it's the PM's responsibility to ensure they provide an updated schedule for delivery. At the end of the day, it's about project delivery, not just kicking the can down the road. And so it's important that all our projects do have a proper schedule. So moving on, any other questions or comments related to this project? So hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained?
Thank you, everyone.
No, thank you, Dana. And item 8-25, is that the right one? Yes. Jane?
Good morning, Chair and Committee. This request is to establish a new project for F0731-01D. The ONX phase follows this. This is a Section 130 rail highway safety upgrade. The project is Navajo Boulevard, State Route 77 at BNSF in Holbrook. It's in Navajo County. This is phase 2. Phase 1 was completed in October 22 as emergency. The concrete surface was failing and breaking off, and they didn't expect it to last through the winter. So we expected this phase 2. So now with phase 2, the railroad will replace the obsolete signal equipment, install a queue cutter pre-signal, an internet and interconnect communication system, and install pedestrian gates and lights. The funding for 01D is 100% Section 130 federal funding. The request for 01D is $170,000 and includes ICAP. It consists of ADOT staff for oversight, coordination, clearances, and BNSF for preliminary engineering, design, and ICAP. And do you want me to go into ONX too?
Yes, please.
Okay, so ONX is a new subphase, so F073101X, and this is for railroad construction. The request for 01X is $2,070,000, and it does include ICAP. And the funding is broken up into $1,030,000 for Section 130 funds at 100% federal participation, and $1,040,000 of contingency funds. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve items 8-25 and 8-26.
Thank you, Barry. Is there a second?
Second motion.
Thank you, Steve. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstained? Thank you, Jane.
Thank
Moving
you.
on to item 8-27, Jeffrey.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chairman and committee members. I'm here to request to establish a new project. The project is located on US 60 from SR20, State Route 202 to Goldfield Road. And the project is to convert high pressure sodium to LED lighting, and the request is for $275,000. And that's all I have today.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve, Brent.
Thank you, Brent. Is there a second?
Second motion.
Thank you, Steve. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstained? Thank you. Moving on to item 8-28, Jeffrey.
Yes, this project is here to establish a new project also. This is a pavement preservation project on State Route 89, and it is consists of a mill and a two-pass micro surface, and I'm requesting $157,000 for the O&D phase.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve motion.
Steve, is there a second?
Second, Barry.
Thank you, Barry. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? Thank you, Jeffrey. Moving on to item 8-29. Jeffrey?
Thank you. Again, this is another pavement preservation project on I-40 from Fort Rock Road to Markham Pass in the westbound direction only. And this pavement preservation project will consist of removing the friction course and replacing it with a 2-pass microsurface along with the spot improvements. And again, I'm requesting $157,000 for the design of this project. And that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve. Item 829.
Thank you, Barry. Is there a second?
Second motion.
Thank you, Steve. Is any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? Thank you, Jeffrey. Moving on to item 8-30, Madison.
Good morning. I'm requesting $222,000 for funding for the relocation of the DMS sign along US 93 at Bonanza. It needs to be relocated due to a new signalized intersection that was put in out there. That's affecting visibility.
Thank you, Madison. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve, Brent.
Thank you, Brent. Is there a second?
Second motion.
Thank you, Steve. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? Thank you, Madison. Moving on to item 8-31, Tricia.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Thank you for saving the best projects for last. This request is for project F0640 for the 01 subphase to establish that for construction. This is a district minor project and the request is for $3.7 million.
Thank you for sticking it out and being here. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve the final agenda item.
No, I think there's more.
Oh, dang.
Second, Barry.
Thank you, Barry. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor, hang on. Okay.
I
Elise.
apologize. Quick question.
We're good.
I probably asked this, so Chair Committee Tricia, if I asked this before at PRB, but this was probably a long time ago. Is there a reason some of this work isn't covered by the ER funding? It looks like we're restoring things that were damaged as a result of this fire. Will we get ER funding for this or no?
So some of the guardrail out there that needed to be replaced was not actually damaged by the fire, so it was not eligible for
Got
that
it.
funding.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? Thank you. Moving on to item 8-32, Tricia.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, this request is to establish the construction subphase for T0313. This is a street lighting project on San Carlos Apache tribes. And the request is for $679,000 of 100% vulnerable road user funds. And the request also includes establishment of the project name to reflect the reduced project limits.
Thank you, Tricia. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve, Brent.
Thank you, Brand. Is there a second?
Second, Barry.
Thank you, John. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? Okay, moving on to item 8-33. Tricia?
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, this request is for tracks number F0566, the 01 subphase to establish that. The request is for $7 million to set aside state funds for state match for the grants application if it is awarded to ADOT. The application was submitted in March of 2024, and this money would be set aside for the state match.
Thank you, Tricia. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve motion. Excuse me.
Steve, is there a second?
Second, this Barry.
Thank you, Barry. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? Thank you, Tricia. Moving on to item 8-34.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, this request is for tracks number F073801D to advance the final design funding into fiscal year 24. The project will design reconstruction of US 93 through the Vista Royale segment to a 4-lane divided highway. Design is currently programmed in the 5-year program, and the request is to move it into fiscal year 24.
Thank you, Trish. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve, Elise.
Thank you, Elise. Is there a second?
Second motion. It won't take 10 million to design this though, but we'll move it forward.
It's pre-construction development services we need it for. Any questions or comments? That's the newest term we've heard. Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? Moving on to the finale, item 8-35.
Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, this is a similar request to the previous one for tracks number F0737. And this is for US 93 for the Big Jim Wash segment to advance the design into fiscal year 24 from the current program of fiscal year 25.
Thank you, Trish. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve, Elise.
Thank you,
Second
Elise.
motion.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? Thank you, Trish.
Thank you.
I think we, item 9, we already talked about the minutes and the recordings. Item 10, I believe, is adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your patience in working through today's agenda. Have a good day.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.